you get in the middle of Manhattan, hanging upside down in a costume you've never seen before?
Over there, it's Spider-Man. Sure doesn't look like him. Well, who else can it be? He changed his costume to fool us. Wouldn't want to make a mistake. For Jameson's million, I'll take that chance.
Whoa! Whoa! Unbelievable! I almost overshot the whole roof! I never could jump like that before.
What's up, guys? And today we're going to be taking a look at my custom Spider-Man, the 90s animated series Black Suit Spider-Man. So, as some of you probably know, I have a whole bunch of videos that I'm backed up on as far as customs and things like that, so I'm trying to push out as much as I can before the end of the year comes because I have a lot of customs planned for next year and everything. And this is one of the ones I've done a whole lot of redoing for him, giving him better cell shading, better logos and everything and whatnot. So I'm hoping he's pretty good now. He should be, because I'm pretty much finished. But we'll just go over some of the details and everything for Black Spidey here. So it is using the Secret Wars anniversary body for the black suit body, with just a few changes here and there. I mainly did this body specifically because it fits with the Walmart cell shaded Spider-Man, which is my definitive 90s Spidey, because that Vulture 2-pack Spider-Man was not good. At least for me, it did not fit for me and did not match with the other figures and everything. But this figure does, at least a specific body, and he needed a black Spider-Man counterpart with an accurate head and everything, so that's what I did here. So taking a look here, I did a lot of the cell shading on the legs and everything. It's a little hard to come off across just because of the lighting and everything just reflecting off of it all. I did do blue on the bottoms of the feet, but you can see like all the different cell shading that I did as far as the legs go. And I think the legs came out pretty nice for the most part. You got decent amount of shading. There's even shading on his like crotch area too. And then I'm just gonna lift his arms up real quick so you can kind of see some of the other shading and whatnot that I've done across the body and the torso and everything. And there's little bits on the back too as well. And then of course you got the shading on the arms and everything. Try to get it as accurate to the show as possible. There are some portions in the show that make it a little bit difficult to really see. Then I got it on the hands too as well. I also used the Mondo figure for a little bit of reference with some of the shading areas, just because there were some parts and portions that just kind of proved to be a little bit hard to achieve in a sense. But I also got the chest area going there, then with the blue on the back too, and then I did of course the head. So when you have it like tilted this way, you got the shading on the head. It isn't the same for this side, which might be a bit of a downgrade or whatnot. But I did get it around the chin area there and on the top of the head too as well, so that in some poses and stuff you can kind of see it there like that. If I can kind of get it right there, yeah, you can kind of see the blue on the top of the head. The logo I redid just a little bit. I had the spikes on the legs there, and then I added the more accurately shaped thing, well, the spider body there. The only thing that sucks is the fact that my paints for the logos was not working with me really too well. So it does look a little bit globby and messy, which does really suck. It's just for some reason my white and my gray was just not working with me like at all, and it just kind of made for a very bumpy texture, and it's just I really did not wish that it came out that way, but I kept trying multiple times, and this is the best that it came out. As far as the head though goes, I did paint the eyes, the accurate shape and everything. It is using a KO Walmart exclusive Spidey head. Just painted it black, and then filled in the eyes and everything with the white. And I think it came out quite well. But yeah, I also added the the patches on the hands and everything, so those have that. So that is pretty much it for his details. Since we've taken a look at details, let's take a look at accessories, which is honestly very limited, but I have other stuff that can be used with him. So, starting off with the accessories, of course, he does have the 2 fists, and he does come with 2 wall crawling hands, as to which those are also, painted with patches and the cell shading on the fingers and everything in the same way that the regular hands are, the fist hands are painted and cell shaded and whatnot. As for heads, there of course is, the normal head that I painted for him, but if you really want to, you can grab the Peter Parker head from the Vulture and Spider-Man 2-pack if you do have it, and then you could just pop off the regular black suit head and put on the Peter Parker head for a bit of a, come on, there we go, for a bit of a kind of partial transformation type of head. And I think it fits pretty well and looks pretty great, honestly. So you can do that. Now, I know you guys are probably thinking, well, he has no whipping hands. Why'd you only give him fist hands and the crawler hands? Well, because this Spider-Man, the symbiote suit, he didn't, do the whipping. He did it from the wrist, so I didn't really make the whipping hands for him. But, of course I can still use all my different webs and stuff, which you will see a lot more of when I do the post test. But that is why he doesn't have whipping hands. Just wanted to put that out there just in case anyone was wondering. But yeah, that is why. So now that we've taken a look at accessories, let's take a look at articulation. So as far as articulation goes, he's mostly standard. The head can go down about that far and go up pretty much all the way. Does full 360 at the head, some a little bit of side to side. As far as the arms go, the butterfly joints don't really go too far back or far forward as much. The arm goes up about that far. Not a whole lot. You could probably push it a little bit more, but you have to there we go. It's really hard to get under there. But yeah, you can do that. It's just really hard to get that arm up, but there is a bicep swivel there. Double jointed pinless elbows that go about that far. That far. Hinge and swivel at the wrist. So usual Legends stuff. Does have the diaphragm joint that goes side to side and everything, and can go forward about that far and back a whole lot further. And it does have the cross joint here too as well, so it goes forward even further and back even further, giving you a lot more range on that. And then as for the legs, they are not on a drop down, so they go forward about that far. Back not so much because of his butt. It does have a thigh swivel, and then kicking it forward. Double jointed pinless knees that are really tough. And then he does have a calf cut there. The foot can go forward about that far, down about that far, and then he does have ankle pivot. So he's pretty basic in terms of articulation for a Legends Spidey. Pretty much on the same body as the Walmart cell shaded exclusive. But yeah, that is pretty much it for the articulation. So let's go into a post test. I hope you guys enjoyed that little post test. Here's the picture I did for my Insta, and there's my Insta too there as well. If you guys would like to go ahead and check that out. So we will get into the scale of this Spidey, and pretty much he's at the same scale for the most part. Let me just tilt my camera down here. Pretty much he's at the same scale when it comes to most of my 90s series figures for the most part. So, of course, he is using the same body as the cel-shaded Walmart Retro Spidey. And they look absolutely amazing and perfect together. This is exactly what I wanted, because this is my definitive animated Spidey. He just looks like animated Spidey, both in the body type and also in just with the head and everything. It just looks so much more like animated Spidey. And now having a black suit version to go along with it, this is absolutely fantastic. So there he is next to animated Spidey. And then, of course, here he is next to some other, just 3 other villains. Here he is next to my animated series, Shocker. Now, I did repaint my Shocker here, my retro card Shocker, to better match the version that was in the animated series, so that way I could have a much better looking Shocker that was, quite frankly, a lot more accurate. So here we have an actual, animated series style Shocker, so you can kind of consider this like a two parts or 2 figure custom video in a sense, but I'm not gonna make a video on this Shocker repaint. It's just a simple little repaint, and I did it just for this video and just to have a better looking Shocker for the shelf. So I mean, there is the animated style Shocker next to Black Suit Spidey, and I think they look pretty great together. Obviously Shocker is pretty built. And, Spidey here is not really too much on the, crazy built side that, this Shocker is. But, I only have one animated Spidey, and this body, fit perfectly, and it's pretty much the same body. So, I had to, make it a black suit animated Spidey, but, so there he is next to my animated Shocker. And then, of course, running along, here's next to another symbiote, which is the retro card, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 90s animated Venom here. Hoping my camera is not at a weird angle. It looks like it's at a weird angle on my end, but there he is next to the retro card animated Venom there. And then lastly, here he is next to the Rhino, since both the Rhino and Shocker were the 2 main villains that Spider-Man fought while he was in the black suit. So there he is next to Rhino, even though Rhino's head is a little bit out of frame. But there he is next to Rhino. And, with that being said, we'll go on to the final thoughts about how I feel about this custom figure. So, for some final thoughts on this black suit animated series Spider-Man custom, overall, I like the way it turned out and everything. It fits really nice with my classic red and blue Spidey. The only issues I really have is some of the cell shading was a little bit hard to kind of get down right. I feel like most areas look pretty good, while some areas I feel like maybe I could have improved a little bit better on. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is just the logo. I tried to get it to look as good as possible, and in some areas it does, but in other areas it just, I don't know, for some reason it just didn't really come out right, and a lot of that is really honestly due to the way my paint was acting up with me. The gray and the white was just not working well with me at all, and kind of came out a bit strange. I think it does look really nice though with the unmasked Peter Parker head. And I'm just really happy with how this custom came out for the most part. It just looks really, really nice, and I'm so happy to have a better-looking black suit Spidey on my shelf than the THS 2-pack one that came with Carnage, because this one looks a little bit more like the show, and quite honestly, he makes for a really good companion piece to my Shocker, and plus, I really am happy that I repainted my Shocker as well. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video, which will probably be more custom videos, maybe. I'm not too sure, but I'll
I've heard it 1,000 times before. not that funny anymore.